Google Stitch is a vibe designing tool that is both my greatest dream and my biggest nightmare. Let's test how it goes at creating a web design for a shoe company from a single prompt. It's generated this design schema and this design for a men's, women's, and children's shoe company over here. Not too bad for a one-shot. Of course, in the prompt, I added a reference website, which was this one here for Gomez shoes. And this is a website I created myself. And it is a human-made design with no AI use, so you can compare the difference between what AI produces and what humans produce. Google Stitch also allows you to work with your design files through audio only or through voice commands, which I'm not sure is definitely useful, but it's something different.
Hey, what are we designing today?
Make this website pop.
Let me take a closer look. You've got something really beautiful here. Very clean. Maybe a subtle video loop instead of a static image. What do you think of that idea?
Let's do it. And here are those designs. Unfortunately, the voice chat didn't do very good, but of course it could be my prompting. Asking for a website to look better by making it pop might not be the best prompt. Instead, what I can do is right click and create variants in layouts, schema, images, text, fonts, or even click generate and select the variation option here, where I'm going to select to do 5 new variations. And those are now just getting to be completed. And you're starting to see that it can do different types of images, backgrounds, as well as designs for the layouts. But they're not always going to be something that is generated by a human. They're kind of just going to be an artistic flop sometimes. And you have to keep generating more and more in order to find something that you might actually be able to use. I'm seeing these posts on X where people are just hand-drawn website designs that they expect and then throw them into Stitch and seeing what the results are. Let's test this now. I just drew this up on my iPad. I'm going to throw this into Google Stitch and throw in a quick little prompt and see what it produces. Just like last time, it's created this schema, and here is the end result for the design. Now, I would say that this isn't anywhere near as good as the examples we saw in X. I will try this with a 3.1 Pro because maybe the fact that I was using Flash earlier might have been a smaller and lighter model that just couldn't do the same work that maybe something like 3.1 Pro can do. Very similar to Flash, it did take a little bit longer, but nothing extraordinary, so maybe I'm just not prompting correctly. Alright, same image, same prompt. Let's see if we get the same results. Not the same. It looks subpar. Like if we have a look at the original post, their version actually has these buttons with gradients and shadows, multiple types of fonts and colors and typography, and this image that just pops, whereas mine just came out, well, not nearly as high level. So I'm not sure exactly what I did wrong since I did use the same image and prompt and model, but it's just not producing those same results. So here's what I can do inside of Google Sketch, which makes it really cool. I can zoom out and zoom in indefinitely, which makes it a lot of fun in terms of editing a design. I can click on a design and then modify it by selecting edit and then selecting different things like this one here for morning jogging and changing that just to jogging and updating that, or selecting morning yoga and just selecting to edit with AI and just prompting here something in the chat bar. Quick pause. If you want to learn more about web design, definitely check out the course I created called Teach Me Design. It's a book as well as a video guide on how to create good looking websites. Everything from color theory to topography to even how to create components that just visually look good. I've got a link below where you can check it out, and it's definitely something that I've put together over many years and continue to build upon to teach people the basics of design so that they can create good looking websites if they don't know how to do so. I can also preview the designs at different viewports, such as in tablet, in desktop, or just regular mobile, which since this is an app, I'm just doing this in mobile. I can generate an instant prototype. Let's click that now and see what it generates. Unfortunately, that isn't working yet. Google Stitch is in beta, so can't expect everything to work perfectly. I can also click into the design and view the actual code that is happening behind the hood. Unfortunately, this also is a feature coming soon, so maybe I can't do that. It says I can copy this to Figma, so I'm going to select copy. And that unfortunately says it could not work either. So maybe that's something that'll happen in the future too. And finally, I can create variations of my design. So if I select to create 3 variations, it's going to pop up with 3 screens here. One looks very male, one looks very female, and one is kind of in the middle. I can also create a predictive heat map. And here's what that heat map looks like. I'm not sure how they're generating it because this is an AI generating a heat map of what it expects users to be doing. But hopefully it's got some science in the background based on real-world examples of how heat maps normally work. Let's do some comparison. See how Google Sketch goes against competitors like Claude and ChatGPT on similar prompts. So I've got this prompt here I have for an app design for a fitness app. I'm going to select the app designing section and I'm going to make sure that I'm using Thinking 3.1 with Pro and use this as the prompt. I've got a similar prompt here inside of Gemini, inside of Claude, and inside of Codex, but I'm going to use Codex inside of VS Code because that just makes it a lot easier. Google Stitch came up with this very vibrant design doc and this app design. Not too bad. Claude also did a really good job with this design over here that looks a lot more clean and polished and put together, especially if I was going to use this for an app. Codex created this design here. It's pretty good in terms of having all the moving elements, but it doesn't have an app menu, which is one of the things that Claude did do. And out of all the designs so far, I think that Claude actually nailed it as the best design. It would be really cool if we could add other models inside of Google Stitch outside of their own models, but I don't think they'll be doing that. What I found really useful for Google Stitch is the fact that it creates this design file, which is something that you can right click and edit and view in terms of its typography, its colors, and you actually get a design MD file, a markdown file, which contains everything you should be doing in terms of the design, the components, rules in terms of spacing. And I think this is really useful. It's almost like a context file or a prompt that happens between whenever you ask it to do things and as it's completing designs. So it has a consistent looking design. I could even now copy this and paste it straight into VS Code or one of my own prompts as a rule set to utilize when continuing to prompt for designs. So here's a funny thing. They say when OpenAI, Google, or Claude releases a feature, they kill 1,000 startups. Today, they killed mine, because I've been working on a design tool that allows you to have canvases like this that instantly create designs for you. And these designs are AI generated on an infinite canvas that you can vibe design. You can resize them to different viewports. You can view dark and light versions of them. You can create variations that get loaded in real time, so you can view them being built. You even can zoom in and view the original source code here. And there's a huge library of different types of footers and headers and pricing lists, which you can literally drag into the canvas to have in here and then play around with those designs. Now, I don't know what I should do with this tool because I've been building this for about half a year, and now I feel like Google Stitch has basically replaced it.